What's going on, everybody? It's your pal, My Hero Goob. I'm back with another How to Go 0-3 at your locals with some of the best quality, top tier decks that you can get out there to go 0-3 at your locals. Let me ask you all a question. Have you ever been heartbroken before? Have you ever fallen in love and thought to yourself, this is the one that's, you know, gonna be with me for the rest of my life. This is the one thing that I will go to my grave with? Well, let me tell you right now that this deck will rip your heart out, put it through the paper shredder, and then probably flush it down the toilet once it's done with it. I would like to introduce you all to Miss Faye Valentine that I played this week in my locals, and let me tell you, deck is a lot of fun, but there are certain matchups where you honestly just have to just bite the bullet and accept the fact that you're just squishy. You're just a squishy 21 health 7-hander that's just going to die. Like, I played up against a Bakugo, the one that says when it gets a damage reduction, it actually gets a damage bonus, and yeah, that doesn't really work too well. But regardless, though, it was still a lot of fun, and it was still a fun time on my locals. But this is the deck that I took this week that goes to 0-3. So, without further ado, let me explain how the character works. So, she, again, is a 7-hand, 21 health character who says, Enhanced Tenacious. Flip a foundation for +2 damage or -2 damage. And then respond, commit. After an attack deals damage, pick up the top card of your discard pile to your hand. So... You have to be very picky and choosy about when to use the enhance, and then if you're looking to go all in, did you check pour that you could pick up an extra attack? Are you just going to go for the poke turn, pick up the foundation that you checked, hopefully, and then build from there, and then kind of play a little more defensively? You have a lot of good variety in the deck for whichever way you want to go, but just admit the fact that your foundations are going to be cannon fodder. They're not here to stay. They're not here to stick around. You're probably going to play them once, maybe twice before Faye says, actually, let's go ahead and flip that for the damage reduction. So, with that being said, let's start with the attack lineup. First of all, just because it's the symbol of choice, I went with the good old Battle Aura release. The flip one to draw a card, give it plus damage maximum 4 for each flip foundation you have in your stage. This one, I kind of used as, this is the attack I want blocked, because then I can string out the rest of them. Like, the rest of them from here just seem to kind of fairly easy, but this one always seems to be the one I want blocked. It's minimum coming in at an 8. If you have everything right, you can get it set up to get the 10 damage. But because it's such at a low speed, it's almost guaranteed to be blocked. I don't have a lot of speed reset or a lot of speed pump in this deck. It's more damage reduction. But at this point, you're either kind of hoping that they miss, like they're a tankier character and they take the 10, or you block it, or they block it, excuse me, and you just have to deal with the consequences of it being blocked. From there, we have Hunter's Pursuit, which says enhance. If I have at least 3 flip foundations, my next comes in at -2 difficulty. And it's a 5 low for 5, 5 low for 7 with Faye as a +2 mid block. If Battle Aura isn't your lead off, this one's certainly your lead off, because this deck can get the 3 flip foundations pretty easily, and it's not a first enhance with Hunter's Pursuit. It's just that once you get to that 3rd flip foundation, you can be like, yeah, my next one's a hell of a lot easier. And then again, it's just easy at that point just to go ahead and start stringing out attacks, right? So, like I said, if this one's not your lead off, you can definitely lead off with this one, and then, you know, -2 difficulty. Okay, this comes in at a 3, so it's a guarantee pass. We have the good old reliable Falling Heel Strike. It's a stun one. Unflip a foundation for +2 speed. You flip something back over with Faye for another 2 damage. It's a good utilizer for defense, especially like if this is what you're going to lead off as your poke, you want to flip something for, or if you flip something for damage, but then you want to unflip it to bring it back for your defensive side, that's definitely worth the cost there. Plus it's got stun 1 on it. If you want to, again, late string, that stun 1 can come in handy at the end. But I think it's really, really good with her because, like I said, you can flip something, unflip it with falling heel strike, get it at least to a 6 damage move. They're off to the races. Of course, because we're on the symbols that we're on, we have to have Jaw Jammer. I mean, it's coming in at a 10 minimum, right? A 10 minimum, because you're blowing one face down up for +4 damage. You're gonna flip something for another 2, but it's coming in for a minimum 10 damage. So it's gonna be a half block if it comes in for 5, or if I have the throw hate, whatever, right? But it's still a 10 damage move. Like a lot of characters that are super aggro right now can't really afford to take 10 damage. So it feels good to string out like 2 or 3 of these, or like if you have a Hunter's Pursuit, play a very easy one on a 3, and then just continue stringing from there. Not that this card is necessary to have in this build, but I like the idea of the combo that it brings. But you get Dual Needle Lunge, which says cut for 3. This will go to momentum when it resolves, and then mill from momentum, make your opponent mill 2. It's not a necessary build, right? But I found a really funny combo, which is with Falling Angel's Revenge. It's a 4 low for 6. With the first enhancement, it says spend a momentum to unflip 2 foundations. Or you can simply go, and then response after you flip a foundation, this gets +1 speed. So I don't really care about the mill from momentum. I'm more like, if I have this and this in my hand, I'll play this. I'll take the 3. Okay, you block it, whatever. It's going to go here, but then I can go here. I can unflip 2 things, and then flip something else for 2 damage. Give it its speed. If it has the cost to flip for more damage, give it another speed. But really, this is just here to feed this. Like, this has no other purpose other than this card, right? Like, yeah, it's good to have momentum on the board. Especially like if you have an EX move, like Hunter's Pursuit, I believe, has EX on it. But really, the funny combo is this. Look, I'm going to stack this. Here comes this. Now I'm flipping 2 things because, lol, why not? So that's the attack lineup for Faye. Moving on to the actions. Now, keep in mind, I had this deck properly built, but then I went and built other decks for this series. So there's going to be some weird face down cards, so I apologize for that. But a staple, Referee Jury, which just says enhance, change this attack to a 4 damage. If it deals, you draw a card. There's a lot you're going to notice in this deck. There's a lot of damage reduction. And if you're going to do damage reduction, you might as well have the best damage reduction that you can, right? Because if someone thinks they're going in for the kill after a long string, and they're like, haha, you don't have the block, I got you, you can go, huh, lol, just kidding. Here's your 4 damage move. Congratulations, you did it. From here, now, with the unflip mechanic that I have in this deck, with Fallen Angel's Revenge and another foundation in here, I'm not kidding you when I say there were multiple games where I played this foundation with 3 on the board and playing it at least, I want to say at least 6 times. But you have the toughest punk in junior high, which just says respond flip, reduce the damage you would take from this unblocked attack by 3. But you can stack it, right? So if they have a 9 damage move coming at you, look at that, I miraculously took nothing. And then they can't snap their momentum because it didn't deal damage. But then you have things like Fallen Angel's Revenge, where say you use these to flip for damage, now suddenly, hey, look, you know I'm just going to play defensively, and they're coming back to life, right? Or you missed on an attack string, you want to bring them back kind of scenario. So now you're set up very beautifully for defense, right? With that, because we do have a lot of face down foundations, we're running Weapon Clash. The flip, build one in committed, or to use it for one of your face down foundations for -2 damage, right? I didn't really find myself using it for the build too much, just because I had so many built and then so many flip foundations I was more using it for its damage reduction than I was really using it for the build. Now, not only do we have Fallen Angel's Revenge, but we have Hiding Out. We don't really care about its deadlock, but we more care about its commit to unflip a foundation, right? So again, I used this, right, on the previous turn. Now I'm going to unflip it and bring it back to life. When you have both of them on the board and then a couple of the junior highs on the board, your opponent can get real annoyed at you really, really quick because they're getting stuff through, right? But you're literally almost taking nothing. So to be able to play that card like 4 or 5 times in a turn is just wild to me. You also have Tough Skin, which is flip for -1 damage. You're going to notice, like I said, there's not a lot of speed hate. The only speed hate that I have running in this deck, which of course, with her card being Fast Friendship, you're guaranteed just with her, you're going to have more face downs than your opponent. So everything's -3 speed. So if you want to save this till the very end of their attack, like you have no more damage reduction. So you're kind of forced to block, but you have a couple of these out on the board. Yeah, you're guaranteed -3 speed, -3 speed. Now it's a very easy block, right? But these are you're desperate to stay alive. Your last action move that you really have, all your damage reduction's gone. You have no way to unflip. Okay, now I have to block, but I have these out for sure. So this is really the only speed hate that's in this deck. You also have Ferocious Attacker, which says if your opponent is taking damage, flip and draw cards. So where your throws come into play. Obviously, if they've taken damage, hey, look, I can just draw a card and just go from there. Like I said, pretty much guaranteed with your throw that you have, unless I have the throw hate. Obviously, we're running Syndicate Target because it's a great low block modifier at a +0 low block. And then, oh no, I lose one if I block with it. But more importantly, it's a 6 check, which you cannot go wrong with those in this deck. We were running 4 copies of Warm and Bubbly, again for the damage reduction. So this one I had the timeout very interesting. Because if you have Toughest Punk in junior high, but you want to be able to utilize this, you can't really push that button too many times because then this essentially becomes a blank foundation and you might end up taking a larger attack than you really wanted to take. So I think it'd be okay to like take 2 and then go, uh-oh, I've taken damage. Now more damage reduction, right? But still very good essential card to have in here. It's a +3 mid block. Can't go wrong with there. One that I found rather hilarious is I was running 2 copies of So Manly, which is response after you take an unblocked attack. Take the top card of your opponent's the top card of your opponent's discard pile into their card pool. So again, it's a please stop. I really want you to stop attacking me. Like your card pool is clogged. I did have unfortunately one time where it did get canceled on me with Incredible Display, which I'm like, okay, well, it's just a flip cost, so it's not the end of the world. But still, to be able to like have the really seriously please stop in your deck with all this damage reduction is really good to have. You also have Move Forward, which is respond flip or response commit. Yeah, excuse me, response commit after you take damage, draw a card. So again, just being able to utilize more defense into the deck to be able to find that block mod that you need for your final attack. And last but not least, because again, we don't have enough damage reduction on the board, we need to have Beneath the Armor, which is once per turn, +2, -2 damage, right? So either I need to give my throw an extra 2 damage to get it to lethal, or I need to stop you from attacking to say I took 2 less, right? Or you flip a foundation as its cost, excuse me. So it's once per turn, flip a foundation. So it's essentially you're using Faye's response twice, right? You can use it to flip something for -2 or +2 damage. Then you can use Faye for another 2, right? So it's a good combo off of both of them. But Faye you can do once per enhance. This is only a once per turn ability. Overall, it's a very fun deck. I had a blast playing Faye. I don't know if I will build her again. I built her on water just because, you know, everyone's seen a ton of chaos lists. Everybody's seen a ton of life lists. I thought water was more interesting, especially with all this damage reduction that you were getting onto the field. It was this, you know, big funny, big memes, and just honestly, it was a really good time. So, but thank you guys for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to leave a like and comment down below. I will leave you the deck list down below in the description as well if you would like to go 0-3 at your locals with Faye Valentine. So with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.